I didn't hate slugs until this moment, and now I do. Oh, why is it
That's
so
a
big?
big mama right there.
Why are you so disgusting?
Okay, it has officially been 1 month on the road. I was able to cross off an item off my bucket list, which was do a month-long bike tour, and did it successfully. No injuries. I'm very blessed, really excited that I've made it this far and still have about a month to go. So we left our friend's house in Portland and actually decided to stay in Portland for one more day and do just kind of some sightseeing, some different things, and stayed with a warm showers host that night, Tony. It turns out that he was Colombian, as is my best friend Josh, and so they hit it off really well. And he was just a really awesome guy. He was on like the 15th floor of an apartment in downtown, so we explored the downtown a little bit, and it was just really cool being up there. I've never been in an apartment that high up before, so it was really fun and interesting to sleep up there and see the city lights from that high up. Couldn't say that I would want to live in an apartment like that, but it was definitely an interesting experience. The next morning we left from Tony's house and made our way through the Rose Garden in Portland, which was beautiful. We didn't even know we were going to be going through there, but it turned out to be honestly one of the most interesting impromptu stops that we've made. Just really beautiful. We also stopped at the Nike World headquarters, I guess, in Beaverton, Oregon, just coming out of Portland. Another really interesting stop. Saw some cool stuff there. The following day I identified as one that could be a potential century. So a 100-mile ride with the touring bags, with panniers and all my stuff on my bike. It wasn't going to be easy, but we decided that we wanted to go about 90 miles, and it was pretty flat, or actually mostly downhill and pretty flat. There was going to be about like 3,000 or 4,000 feet of elevation gain over that whole distance, which didn't seem like too much. So I went for it. Josh actually decided to stop at the 90 miles, but I wanted to go an extra 10, so I just kind of rode around in the town that was nearby, Manzanita, I think it was called, and just kind of explored the beach. By that time we were at the coast, and I also got nearly missed by a truck driver. There's like a gravel truck on this road with pretty much no shoulder, and he just didn't move over and came within probably 3 inches of me, and I was like screaming because it just felt so close, and there's just a ton of huge adrenaline rush, and it was definitely scary, but thankful that I wasn't actually hurt. And it seems like, well, from there on out we decided to be a little more, take up more of the lane, be a little more assertive, and so anytime there's traffic in the oncoming lane, we decided to get out in our lane, make sure nobody could pass us, and make sure they would see us, and that's been working pretty well since then. The next day we made it to Astoria, Oregon, which was exciting for multiple reasons. It's a very scenic town, really interesting place. We were able to get some food, restock, do some stuff like that, and for me, probably one of the more exciting parts was getting my drone back. So if you remember back to the beginning, I crashed my drone into somebody's house up in the canyon. They're really nice, they gave it back to me, but it was broken, so I had to send it in, got it fixed, and decided to send it to Astoria, the new one to Astoria, to the post office there, hoping that we would time it just about right, and we did. It arrived like 4 hours before we got there. So I went to the post office. They kind of gave me a hassle, as post office workers do, but I actually recorded a video of me getting the drone back, so I'll go ahead and play that. Against all odds, the post office received my package that was shipped by UPS, and in typical USPS fashion, that's United States Postal Service, not UPS, they gave me a really hard time, said, oh, it's not here, etc., etc. Oh, UPS can't send to the post office, blah, blah, blah. The packages haven't been sorted. Finally, I convinced them to go and look, and they found it, and then promptly charged me postage because it wasn't posted for USPS. So that night we camped at Cape Disappointment, which was, I would say, the exact opposite. It was really impressive, actually. And I'm not actually sure the history. I want to look that up once I have better access to Wi-Fi and internet. But it was beautiful. Beach access and like a lighthouse, a couple of lighthouses actually. We saw one of them, and really nice place to camp and beautiful area. The next few days blended together, but eventually we made it to Aberdeen, Oregon. And in Aberdeen, we stayed with another Warm Showers host. This was one of the most fun hosts that we've ever had. I mean, all of them have been really great, and we're super thankful for their hospitality. But this guy, his name was Ralph. He had some, I mean, obviously was a biker and had some kind of like Frankenstein creations that he had built. One of them was like a tandem. It had electric assist, but the front, the steering was actually the person in the back, and then the person in the front was in like a recumbent chair and would just kind of help pedal. But the main person in the back had like the electric assist, and so that was really fun. He took us out on that, and then we took turns riding on that and riding another electric bike, and they were just an absolute blast. We like flew up this mountain all the way to the top and looked out over the city of Aberdeen, and it was really fun. And he's a really cool guy, great family. We had some good conversation with them, and they had some young kids that made me feel like I was back working at summer camp, and yeah, just a really good time with them. It was about this time that the heat wave struck Oregon. When we were coming into Aberdeen, I just remember being so completely drained, and it was here in the Pacific Northwest, there's this legendary, or I guess record-breaking heat wave. Got up to like 110 in some locations. Where we were at, it was like around 105, but definitely not ideal biking weather. But we survived. We tried to stay cool, tried to wake up early and get miles out of the way in the morning so that we wouldn't have to just go through the heat. But it was all worth it because we were approaching Olympic National Park, which is where I find myself currently. And Olympic National Park has just been incredible. I didn't realize all the variety of terrain it has. We've seen coast, we've seen forests, we've seen mountains with snow, we've seen just massive trees. It seems like it has a little bit of everything to offer. And some of the highlights, I would say, were, one of the first things we did was a hike to the Enchanted Valley. Really beautiful place. It's kind of an iconic backpacking trip that we were able to do. Made it feel like bringing our backpacks along on our bikes was worth the extra weight. And then the next night we camped. After that backpacking trip, we camped at I think Kalalik Beach is what it's called. The campsite wasn't that great, but some of the other beaches along the way were just so like mysterious and beautiful. And yeah, there's just this fog and mist and these like giant boulders, giant rocks coming up out of the ocean. It was truly a beautiful place, and I kind of just got lost and mesmerized there for a while as Josh went ahead. And we oftentimes split up, and he'll be in front of me, I'll be behind him, or vice versa. And so that's why a lot of the times you won't really see him in some of the shots. A lot of the time he'll be somewhere else, or just doing something else while I'm taking a shot or something. But he is still with me on the trip. And so yeah, it's been fun. We just had our first big disagreement after about a month in together, so I'd say that's pretty good. I think we managed it really well, and it wasn't a huge conflict. We just realized we had some differences and worked it out, and I think it was a good growing experience for both of us, and we're going to move forward, and it'll be, we'll continue to enjoy the trip together, and I'm sure we'll be brothers for life after this. But that disagreement came on probably the highlight of Olympic National Park so far. We're not out of it yet, which is great. I'm excited to see what else it has left to offer us. But we did the Seven Lakes Basin loop, which is technically a backpacking trip as well. It's about 20 miles, and I'd love to come back and do it as a backpacking trip, to camp up there by some of the lakes, and there's some great campsites. But we did it as a day hike, 20 miles, lots of elevation gain. I think somewhere said 7,000. I don't know if it was quite that much, but it was a killer hike, but worth it for the killer views. I mean, just the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen on a hike, surrounded by mountains. We saw Mount Olympus and just like vibrant greens of the forest. Oh man. At some of our campgrounds, we kept bumping into the same group of people and just had some really good conversation with them. They told us about some things to do on the San Juan Islands, San Juan Island and Orcas Island, and I think Lucas Island is one of them too. San Lucas, I don't know. But we had a great conversation. They invited us to the campsite a couple nights ago, and we just sat down and talked about spirituality, whether that's of a religious sense or just experiences. And so I was able to contribute just some experiences I've had, such as working at an orphanage or volunteering at an orphanage in Bolivia for a year, and just some of the impact that had on my life. And just had a really great conversation with them and learned a lot, and felt like I was able to offer quite a bit as well in that conversation. So just another great group of people we've met. It's all about the people you meet along the way and the beautiful scenery that you're meeting them in. So I'm just really thankful for that conversation and for all the people we've met along the way and the hospitality they've shown us. If you see this video, thank you.